And welcome to the United Stand. This is a Saturday morning transfer news show, and I hope you're all doing well. We've literally got 2 days left of this January transfer window, which, it's a dry January, I suppose, from a Manchester United point of view. Not what we hoped, but there is some breaking news this morning that Paul Pogba could stay at Manchester United on one condition, and also developments on Donny van der Beek. I also want to talk about the general transfer window. Obviously, we'll have our transfer deadline day show on the afternoon on Monday, where I think we'll be predominantly going to be covering a lot of other clubs, a lot of other rivals. Speaking to a few people this morning, it's going to go off. It's going to go off like a woolly jumper on a hot day, this transfer window over the last couple of days. Maybe not in relation to Manchester United bringing a player in. I still hold out logical hope, but reality might be different. But teams like Spurs, Arsenal and others, Villa as well, we're hearing, are looking to do deals in the last 48 hours. So, yeah, it's going to go off. So let's wait and see what happens. But look, where should we start? Should we start with Pogba? Start with Donny van der Beek. Let's start with Donny van der Beek then, because obviously I think the Pogba story is interesting, but I don't necessarily believe it anyway. So let's start off with Donny. Late last night, well, I say late last night, about 10 o'clock last night, I was actually watching a film called Draft Day. I mean, I like NFL, but it was very unrealistic. Anyway, I digress. Donny van der Beek last night, a few people doing what happens with transfers. I say this a lot. Jumping the gun. Trying to be first and guesswork. And it's very frustrating from a United fan point of view, but it's very frustrating from what I do on the morning show, is having to spend time figuring out who's jumping the gun and who's actually got good information. Last night, a load of people were jumping the gun. Oh, it's done, deal done, signed, sealed and delivered. And it wasn't. It wasn't. And thank God a couple of people who are actually credible came out and said that, it's not quite done yet. What we're hearing this morning is, and I think Fabrizio said last night, he was one of the people who said it's close but it's not done yet, could be done any time today. What we're hearing this morning is that Donny van der Beek's Crystal Palace is effectively there on the table. United are happy with the deal. But there are other clubs involved, and effectively it's for Donny van der Beek to decide where he goes. We don't know what other clubs are involved apart from Palace and Valencia. Now, Valencia, I think, would struggle to pay his wages. Now, United apparently are going to get the full 120 grand a week covered, plus a loan fee. Which, again, look, this is why United takes so long on deals, because I don't actually think we've got a right to demand his full wages. But if we've done it, the Glazers are going to probably give Arnold a bonus, aren't they? Or Woodward a final bonus. Because I personally think the treatment of Donny van der Beek over the last 2 years... Remember yesterday I was talking about how many games in a row he's played? Apparently he's never played 3 games in a row. I don't care whether you're Donny van der Beek, Lionel Messi, Ousmane Dembele. I don't care whether you're a youth Dan James. You don't buy a player and never give them more than 3 games, more than a game in a row. You've got to give them at least 4 games in a row. And in a row, I mean a couple of Premier League games, Champions League game, Premier League game. You've got to. You can't spend £40 million on a player and never let them play more than 2 games in a row. Look at what's happened with Delot. Delot has come into that team, and we were on about Delot. Like, you can't just drop Delot into a game against Villarreal and then he gets torn apart by their winger. Oh, he's a load of shit. When you give him Wan-Bissaka a game every week, and sometimes he's good and sometimes he's bad. Well, it's the same with Donny. Like, look, you can't say, well, he came into that game, he didn't set the world on fire. But then you're playing Fred and McTominay, who've basically set the team on fire in a bad way. It's arson many times this season and destroyed it. So I just, Donny's going to go. Let's see what he can do. Maybe he won't be good enough. But I will always say, when you spend £40 million on a player, to not play them at least 3 games in a row, it's the most logical thing in football. Like, I've been watching football for decades. I'm sure you have as well. Any club, Man City, Liverpool, West Ham, if you buy a player, you can't just judge them on training. You can't judge them on a half. Like, you've got to give them a run, especially when your midfield's as bad as ours. So I'm very disappointed in relation to that. But that's the situation, and Donny will leave, and I think it's the right thing for him to do. Manchester Evening News is saying that there are other clubs interested, and it's up for Donny to decide what he does. Now, that's the only thing that concerns me a little bit. That we've crossed the bridge that United are going to let him go. We all want to see how he's going to do. I've got to say, I would be massively disappointed. I don't know about you. I'd be massively disappointed if he went to Valencia or outside of the Premier League. This is Donny van der Beek's opportunity. Yes, going to Palace is a challenge, But if he shirks that challenge to go to Valencia, we'll never see him back in the United shirt, and we'll never be able to say, well, he's proved anybody wrong. If he goes to La Liga and does okay at Valencia, that's not the same as going to Palace and doing well. He's got to go to Palace. I mean, I've got no control in it. You've got no control of it. But I think he's going to Palace. I think at some point in the next few hours, next 2 days, we will be saying Donny van de Beek to Palace, and we'll be talking about it. And I think that's the right move. But I'm just putting out what's been out there this morning. There are other clubs interested. We knew there would be other clubs interested. And remember, Donny to Palace kicked off on Tuesday. If you're Everton, Newcastle, I don't know, Lyon, whatever, and you know Donny van de Beek's available for the next 4 months of the season, you're going to make a call, and I think he'll have a few offers. I'm very confident he's going to go to Palace. All I'm saying is it's not done yet. There is talk of other clubs. It's a decision for Donny to make, and I really hope the decision he makes is a Premier League decision, because he's got an opportunity to make Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that board look absolutely stupid, and show the world, more importantly, about how a good player he is. He will not be able to do that if he goes and plays well in Spain or Italy or France or Germany, because people will say, that ain't the Premier League. You were brought to the Premier League. United didn't pick you. The only way you can prove your point is by performing in the Premier League, and that is what he needs to do. So let's see what happens. So yes, not quite the official Donny van de Beek thing done yet, but we're expecting it to come through hopefully at some point today. The reality is it's decision time, yeah, that's where we're at with that. So yeah, Samuel Lucas from the Manchester Evening News has said that Crystal Palace, another Premier League club, and an unknown overseas club are understood to have all provisionally agreed on the terms of a loan for Donny van de Beek, and it's now at the player's discretion which club he chooses to join. And again, Donny's not signing for these He's not signing for these clubs to go and play for them for the next few years. He's going there for the next few months. Patrick Vieira wants him, first team football in the Premier League. If he's got any ambition, that's got to be the right move. If he wants to go and play in the sun, wait till you retire. This is time to go to work for Donny. He's basically been the most glorified season ticket holder United have had in the last 2 years, just sat watching United from the bench. I mean, we'd all love to do that, wouldn't we? All right, Ollie, it's me, Goldbridge. I think you're shit. I'm joking. That was like when we lost to Watford. I'm not saying that in general. I'm not saying it now. All right, Ralph, keep Alanga on and sub Maguire for Jones. Do it. You'll be loved on Twitter. I'm on it. I'm on Twitter now. I've just done a poll, Ralph. Stop ignoring me, Ralph. Donny could have had a great time on that bench with his phone. He really could. Instagram stories. Here I am, sat on the bench again. Donny van der Bench story. He'd get loads of followers. He'd be able to have a great laugh. But yeah, look, he's got to go Prem. He's got to go Prem. Just to reassure you, I've applied for CEO, says Robert. Robert, I would love you to be CEO. You're very firm in your convictions. And I think you've got United's best interest at heart. I might not agree with you on everything, but I've got no problem with that. It's a shame it's not going to be true. Would love to see Donny at Palace. Our final game is against Palace, and but he won't play. And I remember, this is the added advantage of loan deals, is that you can strengthen your rival if your player goes and does well, but they can't play against you. So if Palace play Arsenal and beat them because Donny plays well or makes them stronger, that benefits us, but he can't play against us because we're his parent club. Will you watch Donny at Palace this season, says Salah? Yes, I would. Without a shadow of a doubt, yes, I would. Now, there's a bit of breaking news coming out. I don't know why Paul says he's not staying, Mark. I don't think anybody has said he's staying. I do love it when people come into the chat and make themselves look a complete and utter prat. Like, it's a news show, Paul. I'm not pulling it out my arse, and I never have. It's a news show, and I'll tell you where it's coming from. So, Donny van de Beek to Palace is not officially done. And according to a few sources, there are other clubs interested. I think he'll go to Palace. I think it's the right thing to do. Now, L'Equipe. This is straight from MUFC MPB, and it's come out in the last 10 minutes. Manchester United and Atletico Madrid have both been in talks with Kamara's agent in the last few hours. This is from L'Equipe. Now, look, I'd absolutely love it if that's true. I really, really would. But the reality is that not similar to a story from Marca yesterday talking about Atletico Madrid wanting Kamara, but them feeling that United were the favourites. The next day, L'Equipe start talking about Man United and Atletico Madrid. It's a little bit too coincidental to me, but I'll bring it out because it's a news story. I think we're going to talk about Pogba in a minute. I know he's the headline. Look, let me tell you what we're going to talk about Pogba. So Neil Custis from The Sun. It is The Sun, but Neil Custis has in the past been correct about things. He's saying that Paul Pogba is willing to stay at United and sign a new contract if Ralf Rangnick is the new manager. So we will be talking about that in a minute. But a little bit of a breaking story. L'Equipe, which is a French outlet, are saying that Manchester United and Atletico Madrid have opened talks with Kamara's agent in the last few hours. If you didn't watch the show yesterday afternoon, Marca, which is a Madrid-based paper, said that Atletico Madrid had offered €5 million for Kamara, but Marseille want 10. Obviously, that would have to be in the next few days because there is no fee in the summer because he's out of contract. They'd also said that Atletico Madrid feared that United would get him because he wants to go to the Prem. L'Equipe yesterday said that Manchester United and Bayern Munich wanted Kamara, potentially in the summer. They then say today Atletico Madrid and Manchester United are in talks. This to me, and it's only my opinion, this to me feels like it's paper talk. It doesn't feel like it's correct. And remember, French outlet L'Equipe, Marseille French Football Club. Marseille need to get money for Kamara in the next 48 hours or he's going for free in the summer. So it just feels a little bit like paper talk. Although what I would concede, logically, we should buy him. And also, he's probably the most likely player that we're going to buy in the next 24 hours to 48 hours. Well, 36 hours. 48. The next 2 days and a half. Because I think the Zakaria deal is gone. Dead, really. So, look, logically it could happen, but I wouldn't be getting excited on the L'Equipe story at the moment. I think that it just feels like Marca, L'Equipe are bringing our name into it because we've been interested in the past, but we've never really had anything other than we admire the player. Now, that can change, and I would say that can change. Do you realise the board only gets this amount of heat from fans during the transfer window? Once it ends, all the attention is back on the manager and team, says Julian S. Well, it won't be, because I've got some cracking videos lined up after the transfer window closes, so the board better get ready for that, because it's going to expose how crap they are. But yes, we need to keep the heat on the board, because ultimately, if we fail this season, it's on them. Ollie's gone. Rangnick's an interim, so who's responsible? The board. They've done nothing in this transfer window, so it's the board. But I do logically think with Donny gone and Martial gone, and surely Lingard will go, that's 3 players out. You've got to bring one in. And Ahmad's gone on loan as well, so you've got to bring one in, and that one in has to be a midfielder. So logically, yes, we could go and sign Kamara in the next couple of days. Yes, we could. Do I feel that there's any reason to think that's happening at the moment? No, I feel like it's paper talk. I think Marseille are trying to drum up some interest, and as we know, we always get used to drum up some interest. Having said that, as on a positive side, we do know that Ralf Rangnick has always wanted a midfielder, and it's been well documented that he does. United won't like that. United like Ollie coming out and going, I'm happy with the squad I've got. I'm happy with the squad I've got, which is what Ollie always used to do. They don't like Rangnick basically hinting very obviously that he wants a midfielder. They don't like credible outlets saying that Rangnick wanted a midfielder because it deflects the blame to them, quite rightly. So they don't like that. So that logically means that we could still get a midfielder. It's logical that we've got 3 days left. We could still get a midfielder. And, as I said, it's going to go off in the next couple of days. It really is. I think Spurs are going to do a madness. I think Villa will do something again. And surely Arsenal are going to do something. And that's just 3 clubs. But as of today, who are Arsenal buying? I've got no idea. Who are Villa going to get as a midfielder? I've got no idea. Spurs, I know they're linked to that Juventus forward, but they need more than that. So if we don't know who they're buying, we don't know who we're buying. So we can still be in that race. And I know the cynics will say, well, you're dreaming, Mark, it's not going to happen. But it can happen, and it can happen very quickly. And there is no, the January transfer window is difficult to work on. It's not difficult to work on at all. We've seen the Liverpool deal for Diaz. We've seen the Alvarez deal for City. We've seen we've seen Villa very early on bring Digne in from Everton. Then it's not hard to do deals in January. It's opportunistic. Yeah, you can do a bad deal, but you can do a bad deal in the summer. You can do very good deals as well. So I think it's going to go off big time. Absolutely go off. It's going off like a hooker's knickers in a penalty shootout, as my granddad used to say. I still don't know what it means. Hi Mark, I swear United open talks with every player under the sun. If they have a sub for lunch, they would make it now around the globe. That's what? Akil says, I swear United open talks with every player under the sun. If they have a sub for lunch, they would make it now. No, the around the globe. Okay. What's happening with Palestri, Mark? I think he's been playing for Uruguay. Yeah, I think he's been playing for Uruguay. Let's talk about Paul Pogba then. Let me just say this. I think it's something to do with balls scoring, putting it in the hole. I don't know. I've got no idea. It always used to make me laugh, and then I realised I don't really know what it means. Why can't Pogba and Donny play in the midfield instead of McFred? Says Sensei. Well, let's talk about Paul Pogba. This story this morning, which I was going to lead on. So Neil Custis in The Sun is saying that Paul Pogba will stay at Manchester United if Manchester United keep Ralph Rangnick as the permanent manager. Look, he has been right about stuff in the past. It is a news show. Sometimes a news story is there to be laughed at, dismissed, discussed, debated. Is it true? Honestly, from what I know, and look, Neil Custis is a journalist and he's been a journalist around Manchester United for years and years and years, but and I'm not dismissing the fact that he might have some information on that, but I know the people who are closest to Raiola and Pogba, and the situation is unchanged. They're very much focused on getting back into the United team, playing football until the end of May, and then at the end of the May looking at what's on the table. They will publicly say that nothing's off the table and that Manchester United contract could be signed. The problem that United are going to have is, even if we're not going to win the league, and we're not going to win the Champions League. So the best case scenario, and this probably won't happen, is United play really good football, go deep in the Champions League, win the FA Cup and get top 4. That's probably the best case scenario, and it's probably not going to happen. Even with that, Paul Pogba will not stay at Manchester United, because we're not going to win the league next year. We're not going to win the Champions League next year. We're nowhere near doing that. And most important of all, at the end of the summer, at the end of the season, there will be a club that says to Paul Pogba, we will pay you £500,000 a week and a big signing on fee of maybe 20 million quid, maybe more, maybe a bit less, I don't know. United cannot, and I mean cannot, like do not do it, cannot, when Raiola says, well, we might stay, but you've got to give us £500,000 a week and we want a 20 million signing on fee and I want my agent fee as well. United can't do that. We just cannot do it. And this is why every time I hear a Pogba story about him staying, it's like it belongs on a bloody Harry Potter film. It's fantasy. Sorry, Hogwarts doesn't exist, by the way. I wish it did. But, and it's a fantasy. It's like some people think Paul Pogba's going to start playing the football of his life under Ralph Rangnick and they're going to walk off into the sunset together forever at United, with the new dynasty. JRB says 40 million for Neves, ditch McFred. I mean, if Neves goes to Arsenal, I'll cry. I really, really will. That we'd have to jump in on that deal, but I don't think Wolves are going to sell him. But yeah, in relation to Pogba, you've just got to look at it from a business point of view, because that's what Mino Raiola is. Whether it's Erling Haaland, whether it's Zlatan, whether it's Pogba, he's a businessman. He's not. I'm sure he loves football, but he's a businessman. It's about money. And do you think Mino Raiola and Pogba in the summer are going to go, oh, let's forget about all this money we can make. Let's just stay at Man United, the theatre of dreams. Love it. I'm going to get a nice pad down on the Salford Quays, and we're just going to love it. We're going to absolutely love it. We'll go canoeing on the river. It'll be great. They're not going to do that. They're going to sit there and go, wow, PSG want to give us £500,000 a week in wages and millions of pounds as a signing on fee, and United can't do that. So I think Pogba will leave. So yeah, I don't see an opportunity for Pogba to stay. But look, my job is to it's not my job, but this is a news show, so we'll give you the news. Simple as that. So that is a bit of a breaking news story this morning, that Paul Pogba would be willing to stay at Manchester United if Ralph Rangnick gets the job full time. And also what I would say about that is that Paul Pogba's not even played a game for Ralph Rangnick yet. I mean, all right, they've probably got on quite well in training, but wasn't it Ralph Rangnick that moaned about Paul Pogba doing his recovery work away from Carrington and told him to get back to Carrington? And he's never played a football match for Ralph Rangnick. He's never been dropped by Ralph Rangnick. He's never been subbed by Ralph Rangnick. So why would he be saying now in January that he'll sign a new contract if Rangnick gets the full-time pay? It doesn't actually make any sense, does it? It doesn't make any sense when you think about it. But he will get big offers. I don't think... Is anybody actually interested where Paul Pogba might go? Because I really don't want to discuss it again. I think it'll be PSG or Real Madrid, and it'll probably be PSG. Anyway, so yes, I think that... I don't know what is going to happen in relation to United and this transfer window. I'm not so sure that it's going to kick off really, and probably till I don't know. It feels to me like a lot's going to happen on the last day. It is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and it feels like there's not a lot going on today. But maybe things will start to kick in. I do have to repeat that I feel that United potentially are going down the road that many of us feared, which is let's drag Van der Beek and Lingard deals out until the very end of the window so that then there's no time for people to start talking about signings. And people say, well, a football club's not going to do that. But Man United are so tapped into social media and shares, and it's very important. If you want to know a weakness of Manchester United, they really do value social interaction and they want positive social interaction. Why do you think they've got their head of social media stood behind the goal at Stratford at the Stretford end every home game? Like, I follow him on Twitter. It's him. He's the head of social media for Manchester United, stood behind the goal with his phone at every match because he wants to grab Ronaldo running and scoring so he can put it up all around the world and it gets massive interaction. United are, and I've got no problem with that, but United are massive about social interaction. They don't want a scenario where Donny's already gone to Palace on Wednesday and Lingard's gone to Newcastle on Thursday, and then you've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday of United fans on social media moaning about the Glazers, the board, what a crap club we are, how we're incompetent, how we've got no ambition. They don't want that, and it would have happened. So look, Donny's not gone to Palace yet. Lingard's not gone to Newcastle yet. And if they are going to go, let's make it sure it happens right at the end of the window so we don't get 2, 3, 4 or even one day of Glazers out, this club's a joke. So, people might say that's a bit far-fetched and it's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but I don't think it is. I do not think it is. I think United love interaction and they don't want negative interaction. And I suppose when you think about that and develop it a little bit more, we're probably not going to get Kamara, because one thing United do like is to build a transfer up as well. The massive interaction they get in the days before a transfer. Are we going to go and get Kamara on Monday? Probably not. We might do, just to try and break the internet on one day, but we like to try and break the internet for weeks. We've seen it with Sancho and others. So, I don't know. Percentage that United are going to sign anybody? 25% at the moment. Yeah, I'm dropping a little bit. You've got to drop because we're getting closer towards the end of the window. So 25% chance that we're going to buy anyone, 75% chance that we're not. Logically, I think we do, but you've got to drop it because it's the last few days. Chance that Donny leaves, 99%. Chance that Lingard leaves, I'd drop it a bit. I'd say there's a 60% chance that Lingard will go. Chance that anyone else goes, probably 0. I think Henderson will stay. Bay's going to stay. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. People are saying when Donny and look, and another thing as well, a competent football club, right? If you know that Donny's going to go, and you know that Lingard's going to go, you get your midfielder in now. It's like in the summer, if you know Pogba's a bad example, but if we were going to sell Bruno in the summer for 120 million, would you wait to get the 120 million before shopping for his replacements, or do you get his replacements in before? The reason you get your replacements in before is because everyone knows you've sold Bruno if you do it afterwards, and everyone hikes their prices up. So if we were going to buy a midfielder, surely we would be talking to Marseille and getting it done now, knowing that Lingard and Donny are going to go. The fact that we're not doing that probably suggests that we're not going to do anything. I feel like on deadline day we'll be linked to every DM who's available, then end up announcing Donny's gone on loan and pretend it's a new signing, says Matthew. Yeah, or Lingard going, Matthew, I think so. The problem is we will get heavily linked, and that's why I think L'Équipe's story is just a story to use United, because Marseille will get desperate on Monday, and Mönchengladbach will get desperate on Monday. So there are deals to be done, and we could do those deals, and until that window's closed, or until Kamara or Zakaria sign for somebody else, those deals can be done. Because Marseille, once it hits midnight on Monday night, they're getting nothing for Kamara. Zakaria are getting, Mönchengladbach are getting nothing for Zakaria. So there will be stories around them. You know, I think in a traditional transfer window, if we were after Neves and Rice, who've got long contracts at Wolves and West Ham, you know on the Monday it's not going to happen, because that Wolves and West Ham don't need to sell. So those two players could well end up leaving Marseille and Mönchengladbach, but it may well not be to Manchester United. So yeah, I do think there's going to be activity on Monday, and logically United should do something, but doesn't mean we will. I can see United buying someone. It will just be a young player that plays as a striker or a left back or right back, says Column. And I feel like on deadline day, yeah, we've done that one from Matthew as well. Please smash a like on the video, by the way, and make sure you subscribe. Lynn says it makes financial sense to replace crucial players before selling them. Our board are idiots. Yes, that's another reason why I'm a little bit worried, because surely you would just get these players in before. But I think there will be some competition for Kamara anyway. I spoke to somebody about Kamara about 10 days ago, and they said there's a lot of clubs that would like to get Kamara. And basically, Marseille want him gone by transfer deadline day because they're not going to get any money for him. The only reason he might not go is because his agent and him decide it's best to wait till the summer when they can make the most money. But Kamara is quite loyal to Marseille, so he probably would like Marseille to get something. So watch this space. But what I was told is that there's a lot of clubs that like Kamara. You know, teams like Aston Villa would take Kamara. It's just whether he would want to go to a team that's not in the Champions League. The Glazers chose the business plan. These plans are years in length. Any transfer disappointments are all orchestrated and planned in lieu, with strategy agreed by the board, all to keep profits up, says Michael Thackerley. That's a great point, which I'll come back to. With Wolves wanting 40 million, do you think this is a summer deal in the making rather than now? Love the show as always. Yeah, I can't see Neves, Apollo. I can't see Neves leaving now. I mean, if others making desperate signings doesn't bother me, says Robert McCormack. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point from Robert as well. I mean, look, these clubs like Arsenal, they wanted Vlahovic, he's gone to Juventus. Spurs wanted Diaz and Traore, they've gone to Barcelona and Liverpool. So, you know, doesn't mean that Spurs and Arsenal are going to do good business if they're doing desperate business. So it's a good point from Robert. We'll have to wait and see what they actually end up doing. With Ruben Neves, if he did go to Arsenal in the January transfer window, that would be shocking from United, because if he's available, you've got to go and get him. But great point by Michael Thackerley about the business plan of the club, and I don't think it gets mentioned enough. If you've worked in banking, you will know this. Banking is very strategic. Yeah, marketing is very strategic as well. If you are an advertiser and you're looking to put adverts on Coronation Street and, you know, bloody Britain's Got Talent or whatever, you'll plan that out of the year. You'll know Britain Got Talent's on in May, and you'll know the Ant and Dick show is on whenever, and you know you'll plan it out. But then something might, and the World Cup's coming up, so you'll be planning out your advertising budgets for the year ahead. Something might happen where you go, I want to be part of that, and you'll have a contingency budget. In banking, it's a little bit different. Banking's very much about forecasting the next 12 months, the next 3 years, the next 5 years. And I think Michael's probably hit the nail on the head. Because we're run like a bank, like a business, we probably did say in the summer we're not spending any money in January. That's not part of the projections. We're not going to do that. Because from United's point of view, to take £11 million of dividends in January, you've got to plan how you're going to do that. And it will be move that money there, we'll make that money off that, 11 million comes out, we'll make that money off qualifying for that, and then in the summer we'll have this. Where does the money, where does even 10 million come from in January if you've projected your season out? And Michael's absolutely spot on. if you are a football club and you get to January and you've sacked your manager and your midfield shit and there's a bargain to be had, you go and get it because you're a football club. This is what Newcastle do, Man City, Chelsea, everybody else. United, we've sacked our manager. We need a midfielder, but we haven't projected to spend any money in January, so we're not going to. And this is why we struggle a lot. We can still buy Ronaldos in the summer. We can still buy Varans. But if it's not part of the plan, it becomes a problem. And the only time we really bought in January in a long time was Bruno. And that was because we had the money left from the summer because we pulled out of the Bruno deal. And then McTominay and Pogba got injured and we needed to buy somebody. So we went and did it. And it was a very, very good, astute January signing. But it was out of the norm for United. Anyway, look, I think at some point today, hopefully we'll be doing Donny done deal to Palace. We've got the 8 o'clock show for you as normal. Thanks everybody for watching. Please smash a like on the video and we will see what happens. But at the moment, it's all very, very quiet in relation to Manchester United. I'm just going to have one final sweep of the news just to see if anything's happening. 2 years ago today, we bought Bruno, by the way. Yeah, people are just rushing around trying to get some information. But there you go. Right, thanks everyone for watching. I might do a Saturday night takeaway, Jamie Hen, if you want to keep an eye on my Instagram at GoldbridgeMark. I sometimes do a Saturday night takeaway where I'll send you a takeaway of your choice. I've got to post a picture though. If I post a picture on at GoldbridgeMark, just put in the replies what your ideal Saturday night takeaway would be, and one of you might be getting a DM with some money to get it. So yeah, but I need to do a picture first. Thanks everyone for watching. If you want to get one of these hoodies or anything from our merch, links in the video description as always. We do ship worldwide, and I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks for watching.